Today I've got a stiff hip stretch workout for you. It's going to be a follow along workout that's going to help you improve your hip mobility. It doesn't require any special equipment, just something like a chair and potentially a yoga block or a step, but that is optional. We're going to be doing a hamstring stretch, a hip flexor stretch, an inner thigh stretch, and an outer hip stretch. So you're going to get your hip muscles feeling a lot better from all angles. I'm also going to explain some things you can do to make these hip stretches more effective as you get more familiar with them. I'll talk about all of it during the workout. Also, a big thanks to everybody who commented and requested this follow-along workout for your stiff hips. I thank you for your support, for watching, for your comments, and I hope that this video helps you out. Without further ado, let's get into the hip stretches. All right, let's get started. Have something to help you balance. Have a low surface to help you, especially if you have really stiff, tight hamstrings. You're gonna put your foot up onto that object, whatever it is. Pull the toes back if you can. Feel some stretch in the hamstrings. You're gonna try to keep that knee pretty straight. Do not hyperextend it. If it feels really painful behind the knee, then you can keep it a little bent. We're trying to aim the stretch through here. Breathe, relax. To keep the knees straighter, you can squeeze your quads. Again, don't hyperextend. To stay calm, I like to breathe out longer than I'm breathing in. If it feels like you're getting a sensation like you're gonna pop something behind the knee, bend the knee. Don't point your toes as much. If it feels really intense up at the attachment up here, same thing, bend the knee a little bit. Don't point the toes as much. And you can experiment with trying to straighten it out a little bit more over time. But as long as you're getting stretched through the hamstrings, it's good. If you want to play with contractions, you can think about pulling the heel towards you. So you're kind of slightly bending the knee as you're trying to drag this direction and feeling the hamstrings work in that lengthened position, and then relaxing and then trying to sink a little further. And you can continuously do that. But if you're just beginning and that sounds too complicated, don't do it. All right, good. Let's go ahead and relax. We're gonna do that the other leg. Shake it out. Let your hamstrings relax. Get set for that other side. Now you can do this without the assistance, but I highly recommend starting with it and using it as you feel necessary. It's gonna help you get the most bang for the buck out of your stretch. All right, so here we go. Knees straight, toes pulled back if that's tolerable. If it's not, then you can point the toes, you can bend the knee a little bit. All of those things are okay. Goal here is to just get that stretch sensation, that lengthening sensation in the hamstrings there. Again, once you get familiar with all these stretches, you've gone through this at least once, then you can start using the contractions if you feel comfortable with it. Again, try pulling towards you and then relaxing, seeing if you can sink in a little bit lower. The goal again is to build strength at length, right? So you'll feel safer when it feels like you can control the muscle fibers in that lengthened position. And keep your spine as straight as you can. You don't want to be like super hunched while you're doing this. You want to feel like the pelvis is moving. So the spine itself doesn't really have to change its shape or position that much. It's going to be getting closer to your thigh, but you're not bending at the segments in your spine to do that. You're moving the pelvis to bring the chest and spine forward. And respect your limits. Don't hurt yourself. And remember that slow is safe and fast is foolish. All right, good. Let's go ahead and get ready to transition. So we're just gonna have our little chair here to help us. So we're gonna have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. You can have the chair wherever you need it to feel balanced. I'm starting with my left leg back. You choose which side. I don't care what you choose, as long as you make sure you do both sides. So 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, front knee bent, and then keeping that back knee pretty straight, keeping the glutes squeezed, abs engaged, so we're tucking that tailbone down. You should feel that stretch across the front of the hip here, front of the thigh. It might be a little bit more towards the groin, that's cool. The contraction here, when you're ready to use it, is to think about kicking through the ground this way. You're creating this arc. So I'm like dragging my foot forward in this arc and then relaxing and seeing if I can sink down a little bit lower, let that leg go a little more behind me. And again, I'm trying to kick and relax and sink lower. If you're not ready for that, it's totally fine. Just chill. Just feel that stretch. Make sure you can feel the right muscles. And if it feels too intense, just back out of it. Don't go so far. But over time, you want to get lower and lower. You want to get more extension out of the hip. All right, let's go ahead and ease out of that. A little bit of transition time. Then we're gonna go ahead and get the other foot behind you. Same rules apply here. We're gonna have your foot way back, front knee bent, butt engaged, abs engaged. You ready for it? Here we go. Feel that stretch in the front of your thigh, in the front of your hip, slightly towards the groin. It's all good. You're thinking about keeping the body pretty upright. So if you're like this, I mean, that's okay as long as you're getting the stretch in the front of the hip. But work on being able to get into a more upright position while being in that stretch. Again, use those contractions. If you're ready. Trying to get lower, but respect your limits. If it feels like, oh, it's way too intense, it's sharp, it's pinchy, whatever, just relax. Don't go so hard. If there's a bug biting your leg, you might want to smack it because something's biting me. All right, good. Relax. All right, so then next thing up is going to be your inner thighs. So having the chair in front of you is probably the best idea. I'm gonna shift to my right, which means I'm stretching my left side, this left inner thigh. So hold on to whatever you need to, wherever you need it to be. And then we're gonna shift over. Here we go. And then you wanna feel the inner thigh muscles. Now you can hinge at the hips, so you can see I'm kind of bowing, I'm bending forward. I'm not using the segments of my spine to create this forward bend. I'm bending at the hip joint, so the axis of rotation is in my hip joint, or both hip joints. And I'm just going down, trying to figure out what gives me the most challenge in the inner thigh. And you can also be up higher, and that's fine. Whatever feels like it's gonna challenge you properly. If you want to use contractions, you can think about digging and pulling back, or you can think about pulling in. So those contractions are all okay. figure out what feels good for you, what feels like a good challenge. All right, good. And then we're going to switch sides. Put the chair wherever you feel like you need it. We're going to be shifting to the other side. You can feel the inner thigh stretch on your right leg if you're following me. If you're an iconoclast and don't like following directions, then you're going to feel it on the other side. So here we go. Let's get ready to go, and bending over to the side. Important thing to remember here is that you don't want to push this hard. If you feel like something's going to snap or pop, please be mindful. Don't push super hard through that sensation because you will regret it. I used to play goalie in ice hockey, so I know something about pulling the muscles of the inner thigh, and it's horrible. So please respect your limits, especially when you're starting. Keep it medium intensity, don't go crazy. Just find the areas that are in need of a little challenge and give them that slight challenge that they need to change and grow. Again, contractions can be pulling that foot that way or this way. It's all good. Either way is good. You're gonna feel different muscles when you do that. Because your adductors, your inner thighs, your hamstrings, they get all kinds of crazy. If you pop open an anatomy book and you try to figure out where everything attaches and you look at it, you'll be amazed. And then you'll realize, wow, just shifting a little bit is going to change a lot about what muscle is working where. All right, good. Go ahead and relax. And then we're going to be doing outer hips. So optional is to use a yoga block or a step stool or something to elevate the front foot. So if I were setting it up, it'd be something like this, right? You can do it this way, or you don't even need to use the step. I prefer to use the step because it helps me keep my spine from going into an arch. So here we go, 1.5 minutes. I'm just gonna figure out where. So I got this front foot forward and elevated. That helps me keep that pelvis in a posterior tilt. And then I'm shifting over the back leg. So I'm stretching this outer hip. And I can go into hip flexion. So I'm kind of like hinging at the hip joint, or I could be an extension. Whatever feels good for you is good for me. And the contraction for this would be pushing that foot kind of out to the side. It's like you're trying to do like a side plank almost, or raising your body, but you're not actually letting yourself. You're just contracting those muscles and then trying to sink your hips a little deeper into the stretch, contract, and then sink a little deeper. And how deep you go and how far over you lean is obviously going to be dependent on your arm, shoulder strength. So you don't have to be this intense. You can just lean over like that. It's fine. Twist around, find that good stuff. All right, good. Go ahead and relax. And switch it up. So again, foot elevation, no foot elevation, it's up to you. This time I'll just show it to you initially without. So 1 foot forward, knee bent, 1 foot back, and I'm leaning over. So it's like I'm doing a crossover here to get that stretch. All right, so here we go, 90 seconds on the clock. time's already started, let's go. Feel that stretch through the hip. All along that outer hip. If you're more upright, you're gonna feel it more towards the front outer hip. If you're more bent, you're probably gonna feel it more on the middle or posterior outer hip. Please explore. Enjoy. Your body will thank you. Okay, now I'm gonna go up. So if you ever feel like your outer hips, your IT bands, or whatever, lateral quads, all that feel really stiff, your QL, your obliques, you can get all kinds of interesting stretching and lengthening when you explore this way. All right. Nice. Before we close, I just want to talk about how often you can do this hip stretch workout. First of all, if you're a total beginner, I suggest you don't do this every day. You want to start off a little bit on the slower side, less frequent. So maybe Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Saturday, just to give yourself some time to acclimate to what you're doing. That said, as you get more familiar with these exercises, you notice whether or not you're getting super sore or not, you can feel the right muscles starting to get that challenge, then you can bump it up. So maybe the first 1 or 2 weeks, it's just twice in that week, but then maybe after that, you can do 3 or 4 times, and over time, as you get more familiar with it, you can start doing it even every day. You might find that doing this workout at the beginning of the day and the end of the day really helps your hip muscles feel good. You're just gonna have to find the right balance for you, because some people's bodies will respond very quickly to just doing some simple stretching. Some people's bodies won't and need a lot more aggressive stretching to make any changes happen. It's hard, probably actually impossible, to predict from this side of the screen what your body is going to need. So be willing to explore and experiment so that you can get the best results for your body. Listen to your body, see how it responds, and over time you will learn how to navigate what your body needs. If you'd like more videos like this, drop me a comment down below to let me know what kind of follow-along workout you want to see or what other videos you want me to make. And please consider supporting this channel by going to uprighthealth.com/donate so you can see all the simple options to support this channel like Patreon or PayPal. For more free videos to help your body move right and feel right, check these out here. Like, share, and subscribe with notifications on. And as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't. Every time